Part 175. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1741. This was somewhat beyond Fang Fan's expectations. Bai Biao's performance is indeed a bit unreal. This guy has always sneered at all kinds of relics on weekdays, thinking that they are a waste of time, and generally he is not too entangled in these things. Taking the initiative to come here like today, it does seem a little weird. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, and his doubts became more and more intense. Did you have a premonition? Fang Fan looked at Bai Biao, looked him up and down. The most mysterious person around him was always Bai Biao. This guy is completely the representative of Rutan. He was beaten and vomited blood again and again, but he couldn't die. This is also a very mysterious thing. It feels, not very clear. It's just, I just feel the breath of some true gods. If you can win a true godhead and refine it into your own godhead. Whirring. While Bai Biao was talking, the corners of his mouth twitched unnaturally, his eyes widened, and he clenched his teeth excitedly. True godhead. In order to achieve the position of a true god, apart from reaching that level of cultivation, the most important thing is the divine fire and divine spark. Ignite the divine fire, shape the godhead, you can achieve the body of a true god. This is a means and way to promote the realm of life. Relatively speaking, it is also very important. Although Fang Fan now possesses the position of rage god, it is actually all nonsense. In other words, all of these are fake. The virtual rage godhead, the virtual rage god fire, are all fictitious after all, and their value and meaning are very limited. If it is possible to refine a real godhead, even if the current strength is not enough to directly promote, the benefits will be endless. Fang Fan thought to himself, his eyes flickered with brilliance, and the godhead was also very attractive to him. How sure are you? Fang Fan squinted his eyes and looked at Bai Biao. This is not a trivial matter, he has to make sure. I don't know, I just have this feeling. Maybe not, after all, I have never refined a godhead, but this kind of breath is very familiar, really very familiar. Bai Biao frowned and said in a confused manner. Fang Fan nodded secretly, remembering this matter in his heart. Immediately, Fang Fan led everyone to the power measuring stone, and all the legions under his command were at least high-ranking quasi-sages. The heroes are all one-star sanctuaries, and among the 4 divine pets, there are 3 supreme quasi-sages and 1 2-star sanctuary. If you want to pass the test, it is naturally not a big problem. Fang Fan has looked at it comprehensively, and for these young geniuses under the age of 500, they are basically controlled by the cultivation base of the low-level quasi-sages of the 10-star emperors. Not too bad, but not too strong either. If Fang Fan and the others want to pass the test and rank among the top 100,000, it is naturally not a big problem. With the quota in the core area in hand, the key now is to go to the ruins of the gods and find what you want. Fruit of God, Godhead. Fang Fan's eyes flickered brightly, and his thoughts gradually took off. In 3 days, I will lead the team to the ruins of the gods. Now, please return with your vouchers. I hope you all can get an excellent result. Dongguo Saint took off to the sky again, cheering everyone up. 3 days was just enough time for Fang Fan to make some preparations. My lord, Dongguo Saint is here. Just as Fang Fan was about to return to the station, Galen had a strange look on his face. Fang Fan was stunned for a moment, and also felt a little unbelievable. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1742. Saint Dongguo. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, didn't think much, turned around and looked over, only to see the Dongguo Saint walking over with a smile in the distance. Master Saint. Fang Fan saluted Dong Qiushuo respectfully. If you want to continue to mess around in the temple, you must not lose points in terms of etiquette. Perhaps it is more casual in other places, but in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, most of these high-ranking people will be very concerned about these things. Sometimes they might say, don't be so stiff, just relax with me, just talk casually, talk about things. If you really believed them, you should probably kill them head-on with a piece of tofu. These people's routines come one after another, sometimes extremely treacherous. Fang Fan acts as the Archbishop in red, so you don't need to be polite, I'm here to see you off. I'm going to the ruins of the gods soon, do you have any ideas? Saint Dongguo smiled, looking very kind, and took 2 steps forward while speaking, as if he wanted to establish a good relationship with Fang Fan deliberately. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, the corners of his mouth gradually raised, his eyeballs rolled around, and the feeling of contemplation in his heart became more and more intense. Idea. I will definitely fight to the end for the Temple of the Light Alliance during this trip. I will do my best to win the divine fruit for the temple, and I will desperately win the divine fruit for the temple. For this purpose, I will not hesitate to smash my body to pieces. Fang Fan held his head high, pretending to be a die-hard fan of the temple. Anyway, you won't lose anything by saying these words, and you can even get a lot of impression points, so why not do it? In other words, in fact, what Dongguo saints like to hear the most is probably these high-sounding superficial language. Even if you don't care about it, you have to pretend to be extremely excited. I know Fang Fan's acting red-clothed archbishop's loyalty to the temple. Saint Dongguo looked at Fang Fan with a smile. Fang Fan expressed his affirmation, then rolled his eyes, and smiled again. Fang Fan inexplicably felt a little panicked. Just keep laughing like this, very scalp numb. Master Saint, if you have anything to say, just say it. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched, the subtext was, don't make it so weird, I can't stand it anymore. Ha ha ha. In fact, there is nothing wrong. You should know that our gods of light actually have many factions, right? Saint Dongguo smiled cryptically, his purpose is still very unclear. Fang Fan stood there, just listening, he really wanted to hear what he wanted to say. Your Majesty the God of Light Apollo, Your Majesty the God of War Mars, Your Majesty the Earth Goddess Gaia, Your Majesty the Sea God Poseidon, Your Majesty the Goddess of Wisdom Athena. These are the gods of the light camp. The power under the crown of Apollo, the god of light, is the strongest, and he also has the most believers, but the power under the crown of the other 4 true gods is not much different. Especially under the crown of Athena, she is the embodiment of wisdom, the supreme wise man on the battlefield, so under the crown of Athena, she is also known as the goddess of war. If you can follow in the footsteps of Her Majesty Athena and appreciate her unique charm and wisdom, it doesn't matter if you die. Saint Dongguo became more and more excited as he spoke, his body trembled unnaturally as he spoke, and his face became flushed again and again. Fang Fan, who was standing aside, murmured to himself and chose to remain silent for a while. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1743. Fang Fan didn't know what the purpose of Dongguo Saint's words was. Wave after wave, is it really interesting to talk about it? To be honest, although this is the first time Fang Fan has heard of them, he is not really interested. The gods of light are divided into several factions. Is there a direct connection and relationship with him? Relatively speaking, it is better to be quiet. Master Saint. Fang Fan reminded me, in fact, he really wants to say now, if you have nothing to say, I will slip away first. Having said so much, it seems that it has no effect in Fang Fan's eyes. Fang Fan is acting as the Archbishop in red. I think you are a talented person, and I can see your supreme belief in the gods of light. A person like you actually only needs a little training to become a pillar of talent. Your future will definitely be smooth. My position is definitely not your limit. Saint Dongguo said a lot slowly. Fang Fan only had doubts on his head. What are you talking about? Sage Dongguo praised me a lot. I still have a lot to improve. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched, but he still said respectfully. No matter what kind of wind this Dongguo saint is having today, for Fang Fan, he needs to calm down a little. He. Don't be humble. How about it? Would you like to join under the crown of Goddess Athena and become her faithful follower? See you in the picture. It was only at this moment that Saint Dongguo made his purpose clear. To put it bluntly, it is to win over. This. Master Dongguo Saint, I'm just a little acting cardinal archbishop, the goddess is crowned high above. Fang Fan said rather euphemistically. In fact, he has been at a loss until now. Can't you just agree to Dong Qiushuo in a daze? Then continue to be confused. This is not in line with Fang Fan's temperament. Fang Fan acts as the archbishop in red. Don't underestimate yourself. I just said that you have a bright future. If you are willing, join under the crown of the goddess Athena, and you will definitely receive the supreme care of the goddess in the future. This is 10 million star cores and 1000 strands of God's source power, some entry rewards for joining our group. Saint Dongguo suddenly handed over a storage ring, and continued to speak with laughter. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't want to join, this bit of star core and source of God power is just a little greeting gift for you. If you don't join under the crown of Goddess Athena, you will still be a member of the Temple of the Alliance of Light. However, you have now been promoted to the deputy third-rank priesthood. If you don't join an organization in the temple, it will be more or less troublesome. Even if you don't want to join the goddess Athena, you'd better find another organization to join. Saint Dongguo gradually sent out kind reminders. Master Dongguo Sage, Brother Fang Fan. In the distance, Nangonglei hurried over and greeted with a smile. Seeing Nangonglei coming, the Dongguo saint nodded and said, the Archbishop Nangong in red is also a member of the Athena goddess of wisdom. Saint Dongguo specially reminded him one more thing. Fang Fan secretly narrowed his eyes, and had some more thoughts in his heart. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1744. Originally, he only wanted to get ready and then enter the ruins of the gods. Who knew that such a thing would happen on the way? Fang Fan felt somewhat surprised. Fang Fan held the storage ring in his hand, and his sense of contemplation became stronger. 10 million star cores and 1000 wisps of God's origin power, it's a generous move. Brother Fang Fan, you are qualified to join the Goddess Association and become a full member. Nangonglei opened his eyes wide, looking surprised. Fang Fan was stunned for a moment. Joining the Goddess Association, is it a kind of supreme honor? It was a long time after I was promoted to the third-ranked red-clothed archbishop that I was invited to join the Athena Goddess of Wisdom Society and became an official member of it. Generally speaking, in the Athena Goddess of Wisdom Association, most of the clergy who are above the third rank can become full members. Sage Dongguo has given you the green light. Nangonglei said on the side, not without envy in his tone. Among the 5 great associations in the temple, the Athena Goddess of Wisdom may not be the strongest, but it is definitely the most united. Compared to the arrogance of the God of War Society and the toughness of the Sea God Society 1, the atmosphere inside our Goddess of Wisdom Society is the most relaxed. Brother Fang Fan, if you want to find someone to rely on, you can think about it. Anyway, at your level, even if you don't become an official member of the major God associations, you must become a probationary member. The priesthood of the third rank and above is basically controlled by the 5 great gods. If you choose to be a Lone Ranger, you will be eliminated by the 5 great gods. Nangonglei directly spoke to Fang Fan, and what he said were some common words. Such remarks are commonplace for the high-level members of the Shenhui, but it is really difficult for ordinary people who have just entered the temple to get in touch. The Saint Dongguo at the side naturally noticed Nangonglei Fangfan's sound transmission, but he didn't care at all, instead he kept laughing. Fang Fan fell into deep thought. Now he can make 2 choices. The first is to refuse. The second is to directly join the Ding. The current environment of the host is detected, and the selection system is activated. Ask the host to choose among the following options. Be good to yourself, do not get involved in the struggle of the gods in the Temple of the Alliance of Light. The host will be hated by the gods, and there is a high probability that the priesthood will not be promoted within 100 years. Reward the host with a copy of the Source of Evil Spirits. Join the Goddess of Wisdom Gods Association, choose to join Zhengui, the Goddess of Wisdom, and become the strongest boss in the battle, rewarding experience gift pack *1. The Goddess Love Value *1. Refuse to reply, no choice for the time being, no reward. Fang Fan. Why do you feel that this sudden choice is a bit tasteless? If you choose alone, it is normal to be rejected by those gods in the temple. After all, no one wants a strange person to appear in front of them. This is normal. As for the choice of refuse to reply, it is completely a cowardly practice. It can be delayed for a while, but not for a lifetime. If Fang Fan doesn't want to hang around in the temple anymore, and doesn't want to stay here any longer, he doesn't care. As long as he still wants to stay in the temple and want to become the Pope, he shouldn't sink to the end now. Fang Fan frowned, feeling that various thoughts in his mind were continuously exploding. Joining the Athena Goddess of Wisdom Society, now it seems that there should be no disadvantages. At least I found an organization. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1745. Fang Fan thought to himself, but he already had the answer in his heart. As for the rewarding experience package, Fang Fan doesn't know what it is. Fang Fan lowered his head and glanced at the storage ring in his hand again, and the expression on his face became clearer. Sage Dongguo, I am willing to join the Goddess of Wisdom Association. Fight for the goddess to the end. Fang Fan held his head high, his face full of sincerity, although his words were relatively common, but such words were able to express something. I knew that Fang Fan acting as the Archbishop in red would be able to make the most correct choice. It turns out that I saw the right person. From now on, we will be members of the Goddess of Athena, support each other, and fight to the end. From now on, we will be a family. Dongguo Shenj said, the smiles on his face became more and more, and such thoughts and expressions gradually appeared on his face. Ding! Congratulations to the host for choosing joining the Goddess of Wisdom Society, reward experience spree, Goddess admiration value. Whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, a ray of colorful light flickered, carrying a dazzling light, and rushed over directly. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, raised his head to take a look, and the expression on his face became more and more strange. He always felt that there was something wrong with this colorful light. This is the aura of the goddess Athena. Goddess, appeared. Saint Dongguo gasped, then prostrated himself on the ground, his eyes trembling with excitement. Nangonglei on the side immediately knelt down, and Fang Fan stood there, feeling a little confused for no reason. This is nothing, just kneel down? This is too strange. Just as Fang Fan was thinking, the colorful light suddenly condensed into a beautiful figure of a woman. Fang Fan raised his head to take a look, and felt extremely amazing. As far as beauties are concerned, Fang Fan has seen quite a few, but the woman in front of him has a unique aura, as if everything in this world is revolving around her, her eyes can hold the sky. The woman was getting closer and closer to Fang Fan. Fang Fan wanted to move at this moment, but found that he couldn't move. The dog system, which was usually awesome and coquettish, suddenly stopped at this moment, and there was no response to how it was called. "You are special." Standing in front of Fang Fan, the beautiful woman suddenly chuckled and said. Fang Fan stood where he was, because he couldn't move, he didn't even have an expression. Just when Fang Fan felt aggrieved, the beautiful woman suddenly stretched out her index finger, which was as green onion and jade, and then gently placed it on Fang Fan's chin, making a slight upward gesture. This is teasing. Fang Fan felt that he was being molested. This woman dared to lift his chin. On weekdays, only he can make this pose. Fang Fan opened his eyes wide and looked at this woman in disbelief, feeling inexplicably mad. "Be good." The beautiful woman said another sentence, and then flew away with bursts of laughter like silver bells. At this moment, Fang Fan regained his freedom. The corners of his mouth twitched, and he stretched out his hand to touch his chin. There were sharp rays of light in his eyes. Talk about 1,000 words and 10,000 words, he was molested. "Woman. Don't let me catch you, or I will get it back 100-fold. Fang Fan gritted his teeth and said, "It's too humiliating." Fang Fan acts as the Archbishop in red. Don't talk nonsense." Dongguo Saint suddenly said with a frightened expression on his face. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1746. Fang Fan acted as the Archbishop in red. Just now, that is the floating shadow and incarnation under the crown of the great Athena, the goddess of wisdom. Huh, how could it be? Athena, the goddess of wisdom, actually came in person, and treat you like that? It's impossible. Saint Dongguo murmured to himself, his eyeballs were about to pop out as he spoke, looking extremely unbelievable. He was even shocked and surprised that a certain belief was about to collapse directly. There are even a lot of unimaginable feelings, and the churning in his mind makes him quite ashamed. Apart from Dongguo Saint's expression, Nangong Lei's eyes widened. For a while, he wondered if his eyeballs were wrong. But the current form looks clearly not like this. Even if he was wrong, but what about Saint Dongguo? Saint Dongguo will never be wrong. The current form reveals a sense of treachery. The scene just now was really eye-catching. Athena? Goddess of wisdom. The one just now. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched, feeling his scalp numb for no reason. There is even an extraordinarily unreal feeling. Is everything that happened here real? Why does it sound so fake? If she is really a goddess of wisdom, why is she so frivolous? Fang Fan acting as the Archbishop in red, must not desecrate the great goddess of wisdom. Dongguo Saint's face became tangled in an instant, and he ran to Fang Fan's side in fear, and then said secretly. Fang Fan curled his lips, inexplicably feeling that Saint Dongguo and the others were too cautious. Is it because I chose to join the Athena Goddess of Wisdom Association, a goddess's admiration value rewarded by the system? Are you talking about the Athena Wisdom Goddess's admiration value? Fang Fan raised his eyebrows silently. Although he still couldn't believe it, there was obviously nothing he could do if he didn't believe it now. Facts speak louder than words. Fang Fan secretly squinted his eyes, the eyes were shining brightly, all kinds of thoughts were churning in his mind, and the feeling of contemplation became more and more intense. Fang Fan acting as the Archbishop in red. Fang Fan acting as the Archbishop in red. On the side, Saint Dongguo called again a few times. Fang Fan looked up blankly and glanced at Saint Dongguo, then nodded secretly. Have you been in contact with Her Majesty the Goddess of Wisdom? Or, believed in the crown of the Goddess of Wisdom? Or, have been favored by the Goddess of Wisdom? You just agreed to join the Goddess of Wisdom Society, and this happened. It's unbelievable. Her Majesty the Goddess actually appeared in person. You are so valued by Her Majesty the Goddess. Fang Fan is acting as the Archbishop in red. I sure didn't misread you. Saint Dongguo's face flushed more and more while talking, and the excitement in his heart was beyond words, and his face became flushed as he spoke. Today he was able to get a glimpse of the figure and demeanor of the Goddess of Wisdom, all thanks to Fang Fan. Otherwise, I don't know what it looks like now. Thinking of this, Dongguo Saint wanted to let out another sigh for no reason. Some things, although weird, but the facts are here. This, I don't know. I may or may not have had a relationship with Goddess of Wisdom before. I don't remember anything. I just remember, I used to stay by the side of the Goddess of Wisdom for a while, to help her deal with some things. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1747. Fang Fan rolled his eyeballs, and then said with deep conviction. This matter became more and more treacherous, and Fang Fan could only start this method. After all, it is to confuse the public. Stay by the side of the Goddess of Wisdom for a while? Were you a god under the Goddess of Wisdom before? That's right, since the first time I saw you, I thought you were special, but I didn't expect you to be the divine reincarnation next to the Goddess of Wisdom. It's no wonder you were able to stay in the pool of faith for 3 days and 3 nights, and it's no wonder that your appearance made Her Majesty the Goddess of Wisdom personally send her incarnation. Fang Fan acts as the Archbishop in red. The Goddess of Wisdom has great trust in you. You must lead our Goddess of Wisdom to glory. For the Goddess of Wisdom, I will help more believers. Saint Dongguo said majestically. His words were full of excitement, and he was obviously in an excellent state of excitement. Fang Fan's eyes were dark. Did he regard himself as the reincarnation of the god beside the Goddess of Wisdom? Fang Fan originally wanted to play tricks, but he didn't expect such a transformation and effect, which surprised him. Moreover, Dongguo Saint's attitude towards him has obviously changed to a great extent at this moment. Even Yu is called out, which has expressed part of the attitude to a certain extent. Fang Fan nodded secretly, and silently wrote it down in his heart. Thinking in his heart, his eyes became sharper and sharper. Now that he has started to pretend, he must pretend to the end. You work together. I don't know why, but I always feel that Saint Dongguo is very familiar, as if we have known each other in previous lives. Fang Fan said such a sentence in a flashy manner, intending to further win the relationship, but when he heard Dongguo Shen's ears, his face flushed for a while. What you said, is it true? Fang Fan acts as the Archbishop in red. Could it be that we all served under the crown of the Goddess of Wisdom before? We are all reincarnated? Are we all gods under the crown of the Goddess? Saint Dongguo stepped forward excitedly, and then eagerly held Fang Fan's arm, his eyes gleaming brightly. Fang Fan opened his mouth, and then moved Saint Dongguo's arm back slightly. The two big men held hands tightly in front of the public, feeling a little weird for no reason. There is always a feeling of fullness. Probably this unique feeling. Fang Fan curled his lips secretly and shuddered subconsciously. Sage Dongguo, what, if there is nothing wrong, I will prepare first. I will enter the ruins of the gods soon. I want to make more preparations to be prepared. Fang Fan pondered for a while, and then said very sincerely. Should. After all, this matter is more sensitive, so we need to make more preparations. Saint Dongguo nodded and said in agreement. Originally, I wanted you to go to the ruins of the gods to get the fruit of God, and then bring it out and give it to me. This is also my original intention for you to join the goddess of wisdom. Dongguo Shenj smiled wryly, he seemed a little hesitant. Anyway, the thought just now was a bit villainous. Fang Fan felt that he was in a surprise, without caring for no reason. This sage suddenly came to see him in person, and said that he wanted to cultivate him and let him join the Goddess of Wisdom Society. How could it be that there is no purpose at all? Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1748. It's just that the reason why she is open about her heart now is most likely because of the floating shadow of the Goddess of Wisdom that appeared before, and Fang Fan said just now that they seem to have known each other and stayed by the Goddess of Wisdom together. This made Saint Dongguo think that Fang Fan and him were goddesses of the Goddess of Wisdom before, so naturally they had something to say. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly. In fact, he had already made some predictions earlier, and now it seems that it is true. It was my fault that Fang Fan acted as the Archbishop in red. Hey, I do have some purpose, and the main reason is that you have unparalleled strategies and proper tactics, and you will definitely be able to do something in the ruins of the gods. By the way, Fang Fan is the acting Archbishop in red. Our Goddess of Wisdom will also have a group of elite young geniuses enter the ruins of the gods this time, or you will be their leader. I think you're a great fit. With you leading them, they will definitely be able to reap the fruit of God. Saint Dongguo's eyes suddenly lit up, and he said excitedly. Since the words have been said for the sake, they are naturally not false. At this moment, the Saint of Dongguo already trusts Fang Fan extremely. After all, from the perspective of Dongguo Saint at this moment, the former Fang Fan and him were inseparable colleagues. Nangong Lei, the red-clothed Archbishop of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, took a deep breath, and a look of astonishment gradually appeared on his face, which was somewhat beyond his expectation. He had never seen Lord Saint trust so much in a person, even, not at all defensive. This is far too different from what he expected. In other words, it is simply the difference between waking of insects. Thinking of this, Nangong Lei couldn't help but smile more. He has always been on good terms with Fang Fan, and if Fang Fan can make good friends with Lord Saint, it is naturally his wish. Facing the sincere invitation from Dongguo Saint, Fang Fan fell into a brief silence. To a certain extent, it would be beneficial to take over the young genius elite of the Goddess of Wisdom, at least they would have a usable soldier in their hands. But if he really took over, Fang Fan would be restricted. According to Fang Fan's thinking, he wanted to catch all the fruits of the gods. Who doesn't want more of a good thing? If you just bring the Legion Hero Battle Pet that he can download, it is naturally not a big problem. But if you bring those people from the Goddess of Wisdom, it may not be so easy. Fang Fan thought to himself, his eyes flickered with light. It turns out that these ideas are still very clear. Master Dongguo Saint, I think it's better for me to act alone. On the one hand, I have just joined the Goddess of Wisdom Association. If I suddenly become their leader, they may not be reconciled. It will be bad if there are some troubles. Another one is that too many people will attract more attention, which may not be conducive to finding the fruit of God. So I think it's better to act alone. Fang Fan prepared his words a little bit, and then rejected Dongguo Saint's request. Saint Dongguo had a somewhat regretful expression on his face, but then nodded his head to express his understanding. If you think so, it's true. But your safety is much more important than the fruit of God. This is the token of the President of the Goddess of Wisdom Society. You hold it? If something happens to you, you can use this token to command the probationary members of the Goddess of Wisdom. Anyone who refuses to follow will be killed. Saint Dongwo snorted coldly and said firmly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1749. President Token. Fang Fan stared blankly, then opened his eyes and took a look. The astonishment on his face inexplicably increased. It's getting more and more interesting. Dongwo Saint can take out the president's token, so to some extent, he should be the president of the Goddess of Wisdom Association. Thinking about it, it is true that if he can achieve such a high position as a saint, if he does not come to be the president of the Goddess of Wisdom Society, no one else has the qualifications. This isn't very good. It's not appropriate for me to hold such a valuable thing. Fang Fan pondered for a while, and then followed up. Why did Fang Fan, the acting Archbishop in red, tell me this? You and I were in the same spirit before, and we were both gods under the command of the Goddess of Wisdom. I fell in love with you at first sight, and I naturally have this trust in me. If Fang Fan acting as the Archbishop in red refuses to accept it, wouldn't he be looking down on me? Dongwo Shenj suddenly pretended to be sullen and said. Fang Fan opened his mouth, then shrugged his shoulders. He had no choice but to accept the commander's token, and it would be a bit hypocritical if he didn't take it after talking about it. Moreover, this Dongwo Saint feels that he and Fang Fan used to be the gods under the command of the Goddess of Wisdom, and they are also closely related. Fang Fan raised his head and glanced at Dongwo Shenj. He just mentioned something in a very melancholy tone. Is this serious? It stands to reason that such an existence as the Dongwo Saint would not even be able to see this point. It can only be said that he is unwilling to wake up from it. In other words, he has an endless longing for the Goddess of Wisdom's identity as a god, and this is the only way he can explain it at this moment. I wish Fang Fan the best of luck as the acting Archbishop in red. When Fang Fan, the acting Archbishop in red, returns, I will personally celebrate for you. The Dongwo Saint laughed again, and hurriedly cupped his hands and said. Before, he might have pretended to be a saint in front of Fang Fan, but at this moment, after being fooled and self-imagining, he completely treated Fang Fan as an equal existence. I can't wait to show my heart to prove their feelings for each other. At this point, Fang Fan could only bite the bullet and nod. After bidding farewell to Dongwo Shenj and Nangong Lei, Fang Fan went straight back to his residence. The Emperor's Legion, the Slaves' Legion, and the cultivators of the Tianhu clan are now merged with the Chen Tian family's army, and they are temporarily stationed together. If something happens, they can always help each other. As soon as she returned to the station, Tianhu Meyer flew over in a uniform, followed closely by Chen Tianyuan, the patriarch of the Chen Tian clan. My lord. My son-in-law. Tianhu Meyer and Chen Tianyuan greeted each other with solemn expressions on their faces. Is everything ready? Fang Fan asked directly. My lord, the 10 members of the Tianhu clan are ready. Thank you, Lord Palace Master, for considering our Sky Fox clan. Tianhu Meyer bit her red lips, looked at Fang Fan eagerly, and said very sincerely. He, I should also thank my father-in-law. The 10 places of your Tianhu clan are divided from the Chen Tian clan. Fang Fan chuckled, then looked at his father-in-law, looking very silent. Thank you, Patriarch Chen Tian. Tianhu Meyer said so, but her eyes turned to Fang Fan. She knew very well that if it wasn't for Fang Fan's suggestion, the Chen Tian clan would naturally have no obligation to provide them with a place for the Tianhu clan. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1750. We are both an alliance and we should help each other. Fang Fan nodded slightly and said with a smile. This time he is going to lead into the core area of the ruins of the gods. There are almost 200 people. 10 of them are members of the Tianhu clan, 90 are members of the Chentian clan, and the rest are all the legions under his command. My son-in-law, this trip to the ruins of the gods must not be careless. I heard that all the major forces have sent their top elites. There are even some of the most powerful quasi-sages among them. These geniuses are the true pride of heaven. Ordinary third-rank forces like us, Judean quasi-sages may be the most powerful, and they are only the best among young geniuses. There is too much difference between the two. While Chen Tianyuan was talking, his eyes became more and more silent, and there were gleams of light in his eyes, and his thoughts gradually took off. A supreme quasi-sage. I see on the assessment field, basically, the 10-star emperor and the low-level quasi-sages are already at their peak. Fang Fan froze for a moment, then frowned. Could it be that the way he opened it was not right? Or is every family hiding the elite of the family? For it. The temple has regulations. As long as quasi-sacred practitioners participate in the registration, they will have a core area quota unconditionally. This kind of quota is extra. The Temple of the Light Alliance only has 100,000 quotas in the core area, but if ordinary quasi-sacred genius cultivators are added, the number will still be even more. But son-in-law, you don't need to worry. The general third-rank forces will definitely not have the existence of the supreme quasi-sage. As for the power of the second rank, there is a high probability that there is no. After all, the ultimate quasi-sage is very rare. What you need to pay attention to is the quasi-first rank force, Genji Shenzone, and the Naxi force of the Temple of the Light Alliance. Anyway, in the ruins of the gods, you must be careful. Chen Tianyuan ordered one after another, as if he was afraid that Fang Fan would not take it seriously, and what would happen in the end. Fang Fan frowned, and secretly made a note of these things in his mind. All is ready except for the opportunity. Taking advantage of a few days before going to the ruins of the gods, Fang Fan went directly into the world of Shushan Pavilion, preparing to take the opportunity to increase his strength. When I chose to join the Goddess of Wisdom Association, in addition to getting the love value of a goddess, I also got a gift package of experience. Because things were entangled before, so I didn't extract. Now, extract. Fang Fan snorted secretly, his eyes sparkling brightly. Ding. Extract the experience gift package successfully. Ding. Please choose the host to use the experience gift package. Use it on myself. Ding. Successful use. Ding. Experience is improving. Call. Cool. Fang Fan suddenly narrowed his eyes, with a hint of excitement on his face. At this moment, he felt trembling all over his body. A warm current flowed in all directions in his body, and then spread all over his body. These are spiritual powers. Flourishing spiritual power. That's what it feels like. Expand. Continue to expand. Encountered some bottlenecks. Break. Break the bottleneck. Fang Fan snorted secretly, his brows were suddenly tightened, and the sense of hope in his eyes spontaneously emerged. Breakthrough. High-ranking quasi-sage.